Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a comparison between a 2022 Toyota Tundra Capstone and a 2022 Ram 1500 Limited. Now, this is actually a special Ram 1500 Limited because it's the 10th anniversary edition. So again, a shout out to Sam for letting me review his truck because we're now using the footage for another video, which is pretty exciting. Now, before we get into the video, I do want to mention if you want to save time and money the next time you go to purchase a car, I have a link to my car buying guide in the description down below. It's extremely affordable and it'll save you way more money than what you spend on the course. Let's get into the video. Let's start things off by going under the hood of the Tundra. So first off, we have a twin turbo 3.5 liter V6. It's paired to a hybrid system. Also goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. It's good for 437 horsepower and then 583 pound-feet of torque. Super similar to Ford's Power Boost powertrain, actually. And yeah, definitely pretty crazy setup. Now, going over to the Ram, we have a naturally aspirated 5.7 liter Hemi V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. It's good for 395 horsepower and then 410 pound-feet of torque. This one has the e-torque system, which gives you another 130 pound-feet off the line. Also helps with getting slightly better fuel economy. And so yeah, two completely different powertrains, right? Twin turbo V6 versus naturally aspirated V8. Now, popping back over to the Tundra, you guys can see from a front end perspective, there are some distinctive changes here for the Capstone. You guys can see we've got the iForce Max there on the hood, on the blacked out trim. And then you can see here with the headlights, super similar to what you have on other Tundras. Some of the finishes around the headlights look a little bit nicer as part of the Capstone package, but not a huge change. Got the blue Toyota logo to signify this is a hybrid. Got a camera there below the logo. And then you guys can see the front grille, massive. And notice how they do the brushed appearance with a lot of the materials there on the front end. Kind of add more of a premium look. You got the fog lights there that you could see. But yeah, from a front end perspective, I think it's a good looking truck. Now, popping over here to the Ram Limited, you guys can see more of a, what I would say, I wouldn't say generic, but what I would say is a design that's more classically beautiful, right, for a truck. You guys can see the 1500 badge there. And then you can see here with the LED lights and the projector bulbs. And then, again, notice you've got kind of, you do have gloss chrome, but you do have kind of more of a brushed appearance with some of the pieces, where it's not like as high gloss, if that makes sense. But a lot of it is still high gloss, so I hope that makes sense. Body painted bumper, but yeah, overall, classically beautiful looking truck. Now, moving back over to the Tundra, you guys can see the tire and wheel setup. You got 22s as standard on the Tundra Capstone. Body painted fender flare. And then you can see here with the front suspension setup. And notice here we've got the Capstone badge there on the side. And then that trim piece continues. And then you can see here with the chrome on the mirrors. Now this is more of like a high gloss finish with the chrome. And then you can see here with the side steps. They are power, if you guys are wondering. And then notice here, again, body painted fender flare. And then with all new Tundra models, you get the 5-link coil suspension in the back end, which is a pretty big upgrade compared to the previous Tundra. And then here's a better look at, well, at least part of it underneath the truck. Now, popping from the Tundra back over to the Ram, we have 20s on this. You can get 22s as an option. Sam didn't throw the 22 as an option because he actually put aftermarket wheels on his truck, so that's why he went for the 20s, but again, you can get 22s. And even the 20s, though, I think they look great with the truck, but the 22s definitely fill out the wheel well a little bit more compared to these 20s. And then you guys can see around pretty similar tire setup as what you have in the Tundra. You get air suspension here with the Ram. I've got it in the higher ride height setting in this video, so you can kind of see just how high it can go in the off-road mode. And then you got the Ram Limited logo, similar to how the Tundra has Capstone on the side. So notice they kind of copied that with Ram. And then notice you got the chrome mirrors. This does have the trailer mirrors. And so you guys can see the body painted fender flares, just like with the Tundra. And then again, normally 5-link with a regular Ram, but this again has the air suspension, so it's got a little bit different setup. Now, popping back over to the Tundra, you can see here with the rear ends of the truck, you've got the new taillights, which I think definitely look pretty cool and distinctive. And then parking sensors here. And you've got the Tundra logo stamped on the bed. And then this was the bed that wasn't open. It wouldn't let me open the tailgate. But I do get, Toyota offers composite beds with their vehicles, which is great. It's definitely nice to not have to worry about doing a bed line or anything. You've got the power outlet back there. And giant Tundra logo stamped there. I'm not a huge fan of the chrome there on the bottom, but popping over to the Ram, you can see the key fob with all the functions like tailgate drop down, air suspension drop down, remote start, all that fun stuff. And if you guys are wondering, actually from a payload capacity perspective, the Ram is slightly higher than the Tundra, but they're both pretty close from a payload perspective. And then you can see here with the cargo tie downs, that's what those rails are for, so you can slide it up and down, which is definitely a cool little thing. And then you got the cargo light there at the top. And then as for the tailgate with the multifunction tailgate, it is a little bit heavier to lift up compared to the standard one, but you obviously get the barn door function, which is super practical, especially for loading stuff up. It's easier to get stuff into the bed when you don't have to go over a tailgate. So it's definitely a really cool feature that Ram added to the new trucks. And you can get this on pretty much every single package, I think, except for like the base model Tradesman, because that's still in the old body style. But notice that if you don't like lock it fully, it won't let you drop it down. So you have to have it like fully locked, and then it'll let you drop it down. So there is that safety mechanism, so you don't actually break the tailgate or anything. And then for the rest of the rear with the Ram, you guys can see you've got the LED lights, which I think look great. Limited logo. Notice all the badges are in chrome here. And then you got the chrome exhaust tips with the bumper step there in the center, which is a nice bit of added practicality for the truck. And it's in the center because of the tailgate, if you guys are wondering. Parking sensors there at the bottom. And then you guys can see the receiver hitch right there. But popping from the Ram back over to the Tundra, we're going to pop here into the interior. So you guys can see you actually get a sunshade for the rear passengers, which I think is a cool practical option. And then you can see the leather there at the top and then down below. I love the two-tone design and then the wood trim as well. And pay attention to like the material use and then how much like plastics and everything are in both the trucks. And then you can see here with the seats themselves, they actually look really nice. They're nice leather. And I like the design in the center. You got under-seat storage, which definitely adds to the practicality. And then you can see you've got a couple cup holders there in the center. And then down below, you've got heated, cooled seats for the rear. And then you got some charging ports down below that. So again, that adds to the practicality of the truck. And actually popping into the truck, so power side steps help out quite a bit. Tundra's spacious from a space perspective. That's a funny thing to say, but let's pop back over to the Ram now. Now, popping back over to the Ram, you guys can see here from a door panel perspective, looks really good. So this is the 10th anniversary edition. So you got leather at the top, cloth in the center. You normally have leather in the center with the limiteds, but again, with the 10th anniversary, they did the cloth insert, or cloth inserts basically to make it so that it creates a little bit more contrast, because that's not something you're going to touch, but you're going to look at. And then you guys can see the embroidery there on the side of the door panel. But just look at the material used with everything, with the door handle, everywhere of the door panel. There's just a little bit more leather and a little bit more nice material use. And so the door panel definitely looks more premium with the Ram compared to the Tundra. So that is something to say. And I like how they continue the coloration down below. And then you got the limited floor mats, which definitely look nice. You got the Ram ice buckets, Ram logo. I'm not sure why another manufacturer hasn't done ice buckets in the back. And then with the seats, again, they have a little bit of cloth. A normal limited just is full leather, but again, this is for the 10th anniversary package. And you guys can see, definitely looks really solid from an aesthetic perspective. I think both the seats look good. From a leather perspective, in terms of the feel, I feel like they both feel just as nice as each other. The Ram seats might feel slightly better with the leather, but it's pretty close. You wouldn't complain either way, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Now, popping in the center, you've got the wood trim there at the top. And then you guys can see here, you've got the storage. Notice you've got the USBs with the heated, cooled seats and the full power outlet. So they're both similar from that perspective. And yeah, that's the back of the Limited. Popping back over to the Tundra, you can see the door panel here on the front. Again, you guys can see from a design perspective, I don't know, it doesn't look as... and especially right here, like look at the plastic trim all right there. It just doesn't look as premium to me. Got blind spot monitoring in the mirrors. And the speaker for the sound system. Speaker looks pretty nice. And then here are the front seats, which, again, nice leather. Looks great. I think from an aesthetic perspective, the design they've done, I think, works out really well. And the seats are very comfortable, too. then your power adjustments there, pedal layout, nothing too crazy happening with that. And then you guys can see all the controls over here for like the gas cap release, for example. There's a bunch of stuff there. And then more leather trim. Now popping over here to the Ram, you guys can see again with the door panel here at the front, it's the same as the back. So you've got the leather trim there at the top and then the cloth down below. And then you guys can see the leather there with the embroidery and then the wood trim. Looks fantastic. Got the mirrors, which do have blind spot. And then you guys can see here, you can fold them in with the trailer mirrors. And again, more speakers for the sound system. Looks just a little bit more premium. And then here are the front seats, which again, really nice leather. I love the custom stitching that goes all throughout the seats. It looks great. And seat comfort's great with these, with the front ones. And then you can see the pedal layout down below. The pedals definitely look a lot nicer than the Tundras. That's pretty obvious, right? And then you got the pedal adjustment right there, parking brake, and then the light controls there at the top. Steering wheel adjustment, which is manual, and then more of that trim, leather trim right there, and then on the dash as well to kind of bring up just the interior from in a material and aesthetic perspective. Now, popping into the front of the Tundra, you guys will notice, first off, you got the blue button because it's a hybrid. And this one actually, yeah, it did start up at the auto show, which was pretty cool. Really cool animation with the full digital gauge cluster. I'm a fan. I think it looks great. The animation on it looks a little bit more old school, but I think overall it's great. You can see the steering wheel design with the leather. My only problem with steering wheel is you can get the same steering wheel in like a TRD Sport. So take that into consideration. Adaptive cruise control, got all that normal practical safety tech stuff. We do have some different drive modes. So you guys can see normal, comfort, eco, sport, and then sport plus from a drive mode perspective. So it's cool that you can kind of customize the drivability with the truck from a drive mode perspective. And then you got the center infotainment system here. It's a 12-inch display. And then also notice the material use in the dash is actually pretty nice. It looks kind of like stacked together, interestingly. Like, I don't know, it's interesting, but it feels nice. And then you can see here analog controls for like the climate system. You got heated, cooled seats for the front. And then you can see down below, you've got some controls for like the camera system, for example. Just a bunch of different options. So you can go through wireless phone charger. And then you guys can see here the shifter for the 10-speed automatic. And then you got the drive line select as well. And then you can see here if the drive mode select, you got more nice wood trim. And then we have the pass-through center console, which I love. I think that's very smart. Oh yeah, this was the one that had the Venza key. This is the key for the Tundra, if you guys are wondering. But it says Venza on it. But it's for the Tundra, I promise. Prototype cars, right? And yeah, center console is great. You guys can see storage space there. Really solid with that whole setup. And then glove box, again, really practical. And then you do have a camera mirror, which definitely adds to the practicality of the truck. And then we have the full panoramic sunroof here with the Tundra. And let's pop back to the Ram. Now, popping over to the Ram, you guys can see here, we've got a mix with a digital gauge cluster. So you've got half analog, half screen. And overall, I think that looks great. I love startup animation. Now, with the steering wheel, this is the part that Ram nailed because it is different from, you know, size-wise and everything, it's the same. But, like, you get wood trim, really nice leather. You got the wood trim at the top, so it feels different. Still have adaptive cruise control, radio controls in the back, controls for the center stack. And so the point I'm trying to make is the steering wheel feels differentiated with the Ram, whereas with the Capstone, it does not. And then you can see here with the gauge cluster, I think the gauge cluster looks great. Obviously not as modern and techy as what you have in the new Tundra, but it has this simplicity to it that I really like. And again, it still has a screen there in the center that gives you vehicle information, so it's still super practical. And I think that for most people, it would fit your needs and be more than enough for what you're looking for out of a gauge cluster setup. And notice the different menus you can actually scroll through with that. And you have the air suspension. You can see there what setting it's in. And then the dash, again, I want to mention, really nice. I think Ram did and again, the quilted design there is cool. I think Ram did a better job with the dash design, just more material use. And it's just, when you look at it aesthetically, it looks like everything's covered, even though it's not. It looks like it. And then you guys can see the practical controls up there for like parking assistance. You do have analog controls for the climate system. On either side, it does have a dual zone climate system, just like the Tundra. And then you can see down below, you've got controls for like the parking sensors, for example, and the air suspension as well. And then like your tow haul mode, trailer brake controls on top of that. And then the 12-inch display, I will say this, I think this is more nicely integrated into the dash. Like, it looks like it's a part of the truck. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of vertical screens after having horizontal in a few vehicles, I still think this looks better aesthetically rather than just, the Toyota looks like it has a plopped on tablet, basically. And you guys can see the different functions you do with the screen. So you can have like the split screen function. It's really cool, all the different menus you can pull up at once, which I think is great. And again, adds to the practicality of the truck. And that's one of the nice things about the update that they added in 2022 with the screen. You do have a full 360 camera system. The Tundra has that as well. I wasn't able to access it because I couldn't pop the truck into reverse since it was stationary. But it does have a 360 camera system. I feel like they're both pretty equal in terms of just the quality of the camera view, right? The resolution and all the different viewpoints as well. So they've both done a good job with that setup. And then you guys can see here, we've got the new shifter for the 10th anniversary edition. Definitely super premium looking. Love the crystal in it and everything. And I wish that Ram would put that in more trucks. They probably won't because, again, it's special, but I don't know. I think it'd be cool. And then you got the driveline selects. You have the two-wheel drive, four-wheel auto, four-wheel high, four-wheel low, and then the auto stop-start. And the Tundra, right, doesn't have the four-wheel auto, which is interesting. Wireless phone charger. And apparently this new phone charger is supposed to be better a little bit. And you can see the center console set up with the wood trim. And then again with the embroidery there on the center console. Looks fantastic. Got the 10th anniversary plaque right there, which is a pretty cool little thing if you're able to get a hold of a 10th anniversary Ram 1500. And then also the glove box with all the wood trim over and then all the leather trim as well. Looks fantastic aesthetically and feels great as well. And then also there's even leather trim on the grab handle, which is kind of funny. And then you can see at the top, you got a premium headliner as well. And so again, just adds to the premium feel of the Ram. And then also panoramic sunroof there at the top, camera mirror. So has that bit of safety tech, and then power sliding window there in the back. And overall, really nice setup there in the Ram. And again, just feels really nice when you have a premium headliner. It looks better from an aesthetic perspective. So I think more truck makers need to do that. And I think it's so funny. They just wrap leather around a piece of plastic. It's hilarious. Now, this last part, quickly to cap things off. Here's what I have to say. The Ram Limited has a better interior. The Tundra, right, has more power, more torque from that engine, but the Ram has a more simple engine, so reliability is probably going to be better with the Ram down the road. And so I'm going to give the win to the Ram still because I think that it's just a little bit of a better luxury truck from an interior perspective, and then all the features it has, you're not really missing out with the Ram, whereas the Tundra, there's a couple things.